I lift my head toward the raging skies, exhale my breath and close my eyes. So many times I've grabbed the prize, but this be where the glory dies. My brethren fight on next to me, but they can't see the things I see. I feel this fight to be easy, our souls bathed in complacency. So many battles great and small, so many scars we show them all. We always thought we would stand tall, but pride comes first before the fall.
After 3 wins from 3 in this year's Women's Six Nations, the Red Roses are sitting pretty at the top of the table and are bang on for a Grand Slam. However, after a stormy performance against France and a performance in a literal storm against Scotland, they spluttered to victory in their last match against Ireland women.
It would take a miracle for them to throw this title away, but as we saw in Scotland, anything is possible in this year's tournament. With the potential of games being delayed until autumn due to the global threat of coronavirus, England are going to want to do all that they can to secure a victory in the games they've got left.
Now, any sports person will tell you the biggest threat to their game isn't always disrupted preparations or even their opponents. Sometimes when you're as dominant as England, the biggest threat can be from your own complacency. And let's hope that doesn't happen to England today.
I'm Megan Stevens, here with Adam Zolti at Twickenham Stoop. It's the Women's Six Nations, it's England vs Wales, and it's a bonus international episode of the Women's Rugby Show.
In the grand scheme of things, England women and their fans should be in a celebratory mood. They're undefeated in this championships, they're on for the Triple Crown and of course the Grand Slam, and they haven't lost in almost a year. Not only that, but we've just found out from the RFU that today's game has got the most attendances for any women's rugby game in this country ever outside of a Women's World Cup. And congratulations to all the fans that have come here today. However, with the growing threat of the COVID-19 virus across the world, inside and outside of sporting games, really what should be a carnival atmosphere, well, it's a little bit mooted. However, the players cannot focus on that, and their attention should surely be potentially getting a record score on their opponents in this Women's Six Nations match.
It could be a tough afternoon for Wales. After conceding half a century against the third best side in the world in France, they come up against a team who have beaten them by more than that tally on 3 occasions in the last 3 years. In fact, since 2007, the Welsh have only beaten their opponents today in the Six Nations on 2 occasions, in 2009 and 2015. More damning, if it can get any worse, is that they've never actually beaten them away from home during that time.
Now, if I was one of Simon Middleton's players today, I would be rubbing my hands together and licking my lips. This kind of match is an opportunity to score an 8 or 9, even a 10 out of a 10 performance, and show Simon that I should be the one on the plane to New Zealand for the 2021 World Cup. I'm especially looking forward to seeing Amber Reid at number 12. Now, we know that Simon Middleton in the past has played the likes of Zoe Harrison and Emily Scott there, but since Amber Reid's come into this side, she has been on fire, and that partnership between her and Scarrett has been absolutely unbelievable. Also, for the likes of Poppy Cleall, Sarah Beckett and Zoe Allcroft, these are 3 players that could potentially be in for a player of the tournament shout, so I would absolutely love to see them get a meat pie today. And of course, this is an opportunity for players that perhaps have been on the fringes of Simon Middleton's squad to put their names forward for more time on the turf. I'm looking at you, Harriet Miller-Mills and Emily Scott.
Now, like a lot of the home nations, Wales have a number of really talented players to choose from. However, as is the theme with those countries too, they just can't seem to make it click on the highest stage. Captain Sian Lillicrap is going to have to put in a Goliathan shift at 8 for 80 minutes to push her side forward, but she can't do it on her own. We've already seen how good front rows Kelsey Jones and Chris Hale can be for Gloucester, but their time in the starting 15 has been limited. The same could be said about Kira Bevan, and very exciting number 9, but someone who has played less than half of her TP15 games this season. The Welsh side have a relatively inexperienced squad with only a handful within touching distance of 40 caps. Contrast that to England, and it's a potential recipe for disaster.
Okay, so I'm going to finish this analysis by saying something a little bit controversial. Wales are going to lose this game. But is it really controversial? Let's look at where we stand at the moment. On one hand, you've got England, a team of full-time players who've got tons of international experience and who've got a sprinkling of World Player of the Years thrown in as well, against a side who are mostly made up of semi-professionals. Yes, they're young, but they're inexperienced. So what do you get? Well, you get mostly scores which read England 60 plus, opposition 0. And that's no slight on Wales at all. It's the state of the international game, and something probably should be done about these women's Six Nations. But for now, England have one task at hand, and that is to focus on beating Wales. And Wales, I am sorry to say this, it pains me, but it's true. Sorry.
Pains me to say that I have to agree with you. My job is to see what Wales can do to make it as difficult as possible for their host today. So let's go. Their number one rule has to be take a leaf out of Ireland's book and stifle the attack close to the source at 9 and 10. Then tackle, tackle, tackle like your lives depended on it. And then let's just hope England put in a lethargic performance like they did in Doncaster and the score may be closer to 17 rather than 70. Adam, what do you think Chris Horseman and Simon Middleton will be saying to their sides this week?
Well, that's a really good question. I would say from Simon's side, he would be telling his players to go out, go through their moves. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but do the simple things well, execute in the first half, put those points on nice and early, and then maybe in the second half they can get a bit more expressive. We've seen it's a bit of an experimental side, so hopefully the players that have come in today will have their chance to shine. In terms of Chris, well, I think he's going to be saying just focus on the game, don't get caught up in the media hype around it, and even then probably don't even focus on the result, just focus on your individual and team performances. What about you? What do you think the main takeaway from this match is going to be?
Well, to be honest, Adam, I think a key takeaway or interesting piece for me to watch personally will be how Wales approach this game. I think it's fair to say that England are the favourites heading into this match, so it begs the question, how are Wales going to play this? There's also been a lot of talk lately about the lead up to the World Cup next year, so given that this gives each side a chance to play against world-class opponents, and particularly for Wales, I'm interested to see if this gives us some insight into their tactics for that longer game. So with all that said and done, let's see how both sides get on.
There's a little bit of contrast in Simon Middleton's squad, as one half says let's stick with some stability, whilst the other half says let's mix it up a bit. But with his win record and the personnel at his disposal, he can pretty much do what he likes. Of the 7 changes in total since the game against Ireland, the most glaring ones are in the back 3. Red Rose's own human power-up button Lydia Thompson starts and will be hoping to add to her ridiculous try-scoring tally for her country. Quins' versatile back Emily Scott starts at fullback in her home stadium, which means its usual owner Sarah McKenna actually plays on the wing. There's also a shuffle in the pack as lock come recent regular flanker Sarah Beckett starts at number 8, pushing skipper Sarah Hunter to the bench. Harriet Miller-Mills makes her first start in an England shirt since 2017, today at 6, and hooker Amy Cockayne earns her 50th cap. Speaking of youngsters, Middleton selected 17-year-old Mia Venner on the bench. She's been tearing it up for Gloucester in the TP15s and is expected to make her debut here today.
It's been well documented that Wales have a raft of absences, none less than their usual head coach Roland Phillips. His inexplicably missing and his fallout has included his own daughter and former captain Caresse, as well as Worcester Warriors superstar Sinead Harries. If that wasn't bad enough, their maverick fly half Eleanor Snowsill is injured, and rocket fuel winger Jazz Joyce is amongst a trio of Welsh 15 players selected for Great Britain's Sevens Olympics push. Sticking with what they've got at their disposal, and Chris Horseman has decided to retain 13 of his starting lineup, who scored none and let in 50 against France. The two who have been lucky enough to come into the side are outside centre Hannah Jones and second row Natalia John. They replace Megan Webb and Gwen Crabb respectively.
Vicky Fleetwood, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic score.
Yep.
I know they say there's no such thing as an easy game in rugby, but come on, that was an easy game, no?
It genuinely didn't feel like it out there. We always knew they were going to be physical. They're so passionate, and their defence really kept us at times. I think the scoreline didn't show actually what the game was like.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, they were really dogged in defence. It was a little bit like the Ireland game in reverse. Did it feel like that?
Yeah, definitely. We had a chat at half time saying we kind of need to, pick the right options rather than just going into that hard defence. So we managed to do that. Still quite a few individual errors, things we can sharpen up on, but yeah, definitely dug in.
We spoke about on the show beforehand, not you and I, complacency. And it's a word that not a lot of professional athletes like, but how difficult is it to manage that complacency coming into a game like this where your opponents conceded 50 points to a team just below you in the rankings the week before?
I think for us, they always bring it against us. They hate the English, and we know that it's always going to be dogged out there. So for us, we just wanted to go and put a performance in, and we know where we're at, and we know that we can keep getting better. So for us, that's what it's all about. And they made us work for it at times. So yeah, well done to them.
Coronavirus, not something you normally hear about on a rugby pitch. How much has that disrupted your preparations for today?
I mean, there's been talk, obviously, with the Scotland girls and things, but we were just fully focused on the game, and obviously if things happen after and stuff like that, then that's what happens. But the fact that it was able to go ahead was fantastic, so we're really pleased that we could get the game in.
Does it matter if this Six Nations tournament's called off because of the coronavirus?
I mean, we obviously want to go and play that Italy game, but yeah, at the moment we're not sure what's going on, so hopefully there'll be updates just in the future. We've just got to wait and see.
Of course, it's not probably your place to say. Anyway, look, congratulations, well done today for the win, and hopefully see you soon.
Cheers, thanks a lot, take care.
Welcome to the Women's Rugby Show Festival, and condolences. How does it feel coming
Obviously, it's always tough having a loss, especially against England. It's a big rivalry. But I think as a team, we can take a lot of positives from the game as we have building through the campaign. And we've just got to look at the positives, and obviously there's a lot of work-ons that we can take forward. It's always good coming up against world-class opposition. So for us, it's just an opportunity to play at the highest level there is.
Absolutely. That was actually something we were talking about earlier in the show. What is the longer term game for you guys?
So for us, obviously, we're a young squad, average age of like 24, something like that amongst the squad. So we're sort of building, looking to World Cup next year. I'm really building strength and depth so that as a team we can go forward and really make an impact in that World Cup next year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And how difficult was it out there today?
Yeah, it was tough. Unfortunately, I didn't get very long. Came off the bench and then picked up a knock. But yeah, the intensity is just through the roof. But as a squad, we've been working really hard in training to be able to match that intensity. So I think some of the defence that we put in today was really positive. And then when we got the chance to attack, then we looked threatening at times. So
yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that was seen in the first half. A lot of strong defence.
Yeah.
Not many gaps were left open. Not letting anyone through. Was that a specific tactic or just more of a mindset?
Yeah, definitely a mindset thing. For us as a team, defence is something that we really strive to sort of be perfect in, and building through the campaign. So against France, our defence was really strong as well. So now for us, it's just sort of putting together the strong attack to match the defence, and then hopefully we can get the results that we need.
Yeah, cool. And halftime chats, stop, start, continue. What was going on? What was being said?
Yeah, the message really was just keep the intensity there. For us, the endeavour is always there. It's just sometimes our accuracies need to be brought up a bit. But yeah, just to keep consistent going into second half. So.
Yeah. Cool. And now I guess we're looking ahead at the rest of this tournament. We've got some cancellations. Where do you feel you're sitting now in terms of your outlook on the rest of this tournament?
So obviously Scotland next week. We're unsure if it's going to be on or not. If it is, for us it's a huge opportunity to get the result, to match our performance. So obviously we'll just have to see how this week goes, train hard, and then get the result next week that we want.
All right, well, all the best.
Thank you.
And hopefully see you around soon. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks.
Emily, first of all, massive congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel to come away with this win?
Oh, amazing, yeah. We came here to put a score on Wales and get the win, and that's what we've done, and fantastic atmosphere today. So
yeah, atmosphere was buzzing the whole time through. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better attendance, right?
Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted. You know, we're really fortunate that people come out to watch us in their thousands, so yeah, it's fantastic today.
Great. And I guess one thing that's been top of mind with us is sort of you've been the favourites coming into this match. We're coming against a team who have just come off the back of conceding 50 points. How do you avoid an element of complacency or not being 100% driven and ready and hungry for the win?
We know what we got to do. Every time we come out onto the pitch, we know we've got a job to do. So hopefully there isn't that kind of complacency within the squad, and I think that's what drives us to keep on pushing and keep getting better.
I think the tries, there just seemed to be bodies all over the place. We were rolling over the line. Did it feel like a physically demanding point to get that last bit over the line?
Playing Wales is always physically demanding. We know that they're going to come at us with their fire and their power and their hard running and hard tackling, so we had to match that today.
Yeah. And I've got to ask, halftime chats, what was going on in the lockers, what was stop, start, continue, all of that?
We just knew we had to be clinical, and we knew patience and the tries would come, and they did, so it's good.
Yeah. And last question, I won't keep you too long. What's the outlook on the rest of the tournament? We've kind of been touching on coronavirus, there might be some cancellations. Is that affecting your outlook or anything like that?
Not really, to be honest. We know we can't control what happens. We can only control what we can do. So when the game gets played eventually, we'll need to be ready for then. But in the meantime, we just need to keep focused and keep on top of things.
Yeah, awesome. Well, all the best.
Cheers.
And congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Karis, really sorry about today. It was a tough match out there. How was it for you?
I think it was difficult. England are always relentless, and it does make for a tough match. But I think we're going through experiences as a squad now that are going to be invaluable come the World Cup. I think we're quite young, quite inexperienced, and what we'll learn from today will be massive, I think. And sometimes you learn more from a loss than a win, and hopefully now we can take things into the remainder of the tournament and again, the World Cup.
Is that the theme for this Women's Six Nations? Is it more about getting experience for the whole squad? Because there's a lot of you that are quite young and inexperienced. Is it more about that than getting those wins on the board, do you think?
Yeah, I think probably it is. In the autumns, we had a lot of new caps and carried those into this Six Nations. So we have got a lot of inexperienced players, but we're just trying to start putting together bits of our game that we are building for the World Cup. So hopefully with time and with experience, and then we can come back next Six Nations, and that'll be a good time for us to see where we're at.
Just in time for the World Cup as well.
Just in time for the World Cup, yeah. So we're naturally always going to be disappointed with any loss, but I think as a squad we're trying to look at what positives we can take from things, and then, like I said, these big experiences will be invaluable to us.
When you talk about positives, that first half, you really came at England. Do you think that was to do with tactics, or do you think it was really more to do with the fact that the whole of this week everyone's talking about how England are a surefire win for this game?
Yeah, it's because we're Welsh, isn't it? Naturally, we've got that fire for it, and I think more than anything what we wanted was all those little wins. So like the first scrum of the match, obviously that sets out a stall for us, and I think we get those little wins more often, we're going to start causing upsets, so we're just working towards that.
We spoke to some of the other players about the coronavirus that's been happening. How much has that disrupted your preparations for this game?
I think obviously there's been a lot of talk about it, and we're aware of it in camp, but for us the biggest focus was to come out and perform on this pitch. So although it's been something that's been there in the background, I think because we're such a tight-knit group, because we've been together now the autumns and through the rest of the Six Nations, I think we didn't let it affect us too much, actually.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, look, we'll let you go. Really sorry about today's result, but impressive performance certainly in the first half. So
thank you very much.
Good luck, and hopefully we'll see you next time on the TP15s.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Wow, what a game, what a performance by England, and what a special guest we've got helping us analyse this game. It is none other, you don't need to turn around, it is you.
Oh, wow.
We've got the Squidge Rugby here. Great to have you. I mean, it is a special episode of the Women's Rugby Show. We need a special guest, and we do have you. First and foremost, what are you doing here?
I was invited down, and I think it's a fantastic chance to come to a Women's Six Nations game, because I've been to see Wales women play in the autumn, and it's a fantastic crowd here today, and it was not perhaps the most competitive game. It wasn't the England-France game from a couple of weeks ago, but it was a really enjoyable occasion and day, so it was fantastic to be here.
You're known for your analysis on rugby. What was your analysis of England's performance today?
I thought they were just incredibly disciplined and accurate. As you saw, 8 of the 10 tries were from forwards, and that kind of showed. You looked at the Emmy Cockayne try down there, which was probably just the product of just really good awareness by Hunt, And then they were running lines off each other, and there was this intelligence, and also they know each other and they know their patterns inside out in the way Wales didn't quite. I think the Welsh team looked far. You could tell they haven't had as much time together and they don't have the level of professionalism that England do. And unfortunately, that's what it often comes down to at this kind of level.
Absolutely. And Megan, from your side, we did a score prediction at the start. I think my prediction was slightly closer than yours was. I'm not going to rub it in, of course. From Wales, we spoke to some of the girls today. What was your general impression of how they felt the game went today?
I think, to be honest, the Welsh side have a very strong and determined mindset. I think it's about knowing where they need to be against England in particular, and in general, like setting up those steps, like we said, towards the World Cup. It's not just this standalone game. It all filters up. But yeah, one thing that I think was interesting was that strong defence in the first half. We did see a bit of disjointedness, but I think that was very consistent in the first half and very, created a lot of resistance for England.
Absolutely, can't disagree with that there. Squidge, before we do go, where can people find your work? It is very, very funny. Maybe for those that haven't seen it before, maybe a bit of a summary, what your channel's all about, what you do and where people can find you as well.
Yeah, it's hopefully funny analysis, that's what I aim for. So I've covered all of the games from the Men's Six Nations, plus I did the England-France game from the Women's Six Nations. I want to cover more, but it's just been a matter of time and energy, because it is kind of exhausting. It's all Squidge Rugby on YouTube if you want to search for that, and also at Squidge Rugby on Twitter.
And we'll put the links down below. But for us, that is it for this very special episode. It's been a pleasure to have you with us. Before you go anywhere, you know what I'm going to say. First of all, give this video a like. It means a lot. But more importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are following us on social media, great. If you're not, you can follow us at Women's Rugby Show across all platforms. And most importantly, tell someone that you know that hasn't never heard of this show before. Tell them about the Women's Rugby Show, because it means a lot. So from me, it's goodbye. From Megan,
Goodbye.
And from our very special guest,
Adios.